Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name's Tanya Sheldon. I'm out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and I am so excited and so honored to be able to share this information with you tonight. What I get to share with you is something that I've been a part of for almost 16 years, actually. And tonight we're going to talk about our heart, which is moving families forward, especially right now in the world we're living in. And we're going to talk about doing that through the next era of health and wellness. So, I want to first start by sharing a little bit about my story. And as I do that tonight, I want you to know we're going to talk about a concept called activation. This is a category that maybe you have or have not heard of before. We're going to talk about the company that we get to be a part of through that technology. We're going to talk about the industry that it's a part of, how to leverage that, and why the timing right now is so crucial. So, this is a little snapshot of me. So, this was brought into my life in 2011, October 2011. And at that point in my life, I was a stay-at-home mom and I was looking for purpose outside of my role as mom and wife. And I wanted to bring in extra income, but I did not want to have a boss. And everything that I looked at, everything that I explored, always went back to having a boss and having someone to answer to. And I just didn't want that because I wanted to have flexibility in my life to be there for my daughters. I also at that time had a husband that I say was like a walking time bomb. He had multiple health issues and health issues that he had to travel a lot for work. And sometimes he had to be the guy being wheeled up to the gate because he was so immobile because of inflammation in his body. He was at the doctor a lot. And every time he was at the doctor, he did not have good lab work. His lab work was always typically in the red, which put him on a lot of medication. And today, it's a completely different story for my husband. Today, he goes to the doctor to get checkups, not because he has to. And that's my husband, Kyle, in the upper right-hand corner. He is down 45 pounds because of activation. And he has said things to me like, I never knew or anticipated that my body was capable of functioning this way again. He's literally like Benjamin Button. It's just crazy. Being a part of this and saying yes to this and finding these products that help my husband open a door to me to finding possibility of truly becoming the person that I knew I had the ability to become. I just needed the right resources and the right vehicle. And I found that through this opportunity. And what it did for me is it gave me an opportunity that I could build while also being a mom. And in doing that, my daughters saw me do things that stretched me, put me outside my comfort zone. And now today, like in the middle, you see my daughter Savannah. She has her own business. They both kind of have this entrepreneurial mindset, and they learned that by watching me. This opportunity has given me the chance to travel for free to places that I would have never otherwise traveled. When we were married and when I was looking for this, the only thing we could afford to do was travel from Colorado back to Sioux Falls. It's all the extra money that we had. And just recently, this last year, this opportunity also afforded me the ability to move back home to be with my family here in South Dakota, where we otherwise have been chasing jobs to move. We were given the opportunity to move back on our own accord. So, when this was shared with me in 2011, my girlfriend shared with me an ABC investigative report. This investigative report was done in 2005, but I know that if it was shown today, people would flock to get this product just as much as they did then. That's how far ahead of the curve these products were and this flagship product was. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of this ABC report, and then I'm going to share with you what happened after it aired and how we got to where we are today.
Following video is an ABC primetime investigative report that started the biohacking revolution in 2005.
You want to get an edge on turning back the clock? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough.
It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building,
I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment. For me, it begins with a blood test. Wouldn't be the first time I've given blood for this company. They want to check my levels of something called T-bars, which is a rough indicator of a person's actual age. T-bars can identify a condition known as oxidative stress, a kind of measure of the wear and tear on our bodies. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing. The problem of aging begins with the very food we eat to give us energy. As our cells burn that food, they also release toxic chemicals. Those chemicals, you may know them as free radicals, react with all the components of our cells, literally bombarding them millions of times per second, damaging all our cells. So the result? Oxidative stress. And we all have it. The body fights back with a system of defenses. It makes two antioxidant enzymes, catalase and SOD, whose job is to gobble up the free radicals before they can harm our cells. So, doctor, how often do I take these? And so, here I go. With that swallow, I've just become part of a potentially landmark scientific experiment. It's called Protandim, and tests have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us. Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age, but taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old. So just what's in this seemingly incredible pill? Well, actually, its roots are very humble. Protandim is a combination of 5 plant ingredients. Some you may know: green tea or turmeric, a spice used in Indian cooking. Others, Withania somnifera and Silybum marianum, are more exotic. High oxidative stress is associated with more than aging. It's been linked to hundreds of illnesses.
It's at the very center of many diseases: liver disease, diabetes, emphysema, asthma, all of these, strokes, heart attacks.
Even mental disease.
Yes,
Depression?
Alzheimer's disease, depression.
But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. The result? My level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically. Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after. Have we turned back the clock? Maybe not on the outside, but deep inside within my cells. Yes, indeed.
We do know that oxidative stress is part of those disease processes. I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old and find out that I should have taken it.
The company that makes Protandim says its tests show the pill, made from ingredients used for centuries, is absolutely safe. For more, go to our website at abcnews.com.
Okay, so that's what people did. People went to abcnews.com to get more information, and a lot of people wanted the product. The problem was that researcher and scientists that created our flagship product called Protandim NRF2, he did not know that that would be the reception that they would get from the ABC report. So he didn't have the infrastructure to get that out to people. So it sat in places like, for a while, they tried different ways to sell it, and then they put it into the retail market. It sat in places like GNC's, but people didn't know what it did sitting on a store shelf. It was a non-discrete package, and you can't put what you saw in that video on a package. So in 2009, a gentleman came in and he said they wanted to sell off the company. It wasn't selling the way they wanted. And he said, there's a story here to be told. What if you just change your distribution model and put it in the hands of people to share the message? And they were against that, but they said, let's keep it in retail, put it in the hands of people and see what happens. And when they did that, their sales tripled. Because I don't know about you, but when something works and something is helping someone, I'm going to share it with other people. And that's what happened. They tripled their sales. So they took it off the retail market and put it in the hands of people like myself back in 2009. And that's when we became Lifevantage. Now, this is truly a category shift. This is not something that you can find anywhere else, because what else happened was all of this research continued to happen. You saw the initial research on the ABC report. After 30 days, They found that his oxidative stress levels were that of an infant child that was after 2 weeks. And after 30 days, they couldn't distinguish the blood between an 80-year-old and a 20-year-old. Now, when I saw this back in 2011, I immediately thought of people in my life that had struggles with an immune struggles or any kind of dysfunction. And so what I did is I went to a site called PubMed, like you see on the screen, and I typed in everything I could think of in my family history. I typed what my husband was dealing with, what my aunt died of, what my uncle was dealing with, everything I could think of. And then I would type oxidative stress. Every time I did that, studies came up. So that said to me that if this product lowers oxidative stress and everything in my family history or that is related to my husband's health right now is related to oxidative stress, then this is something that we should take for the rest of our life. And we have not missed a day. We freak out if we do. We have not missed a day since 2011. That is how important this product has been to us. And there were other researchers and institutions that said if your product says what you say it does, we want to study it with other disease states. So you can see one, for instance, on the left here, a PubMed study talking about the NRF2 signaling pathway. And I'll tell you more about that, but that's what this product turns on. It turns on that pathway in the body to turn on antioxidant production to then lower the oxidative stress. Washington State University said this is the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. Washington State said that. So what we're talking about here is supplementation versus activation. We all know, I mean, the market is flooded with supplementation, right? But when we talk about supplements, we're talking about adding more to the body, adding more vitamins, adding more ingredients, adding more products. And what happens is your body is trying to keep up and it doesn't know what to do with everything that you're giving it because it's not in this synergy that it can communicate properly. To get what we're giving you through activation, you would have to take 400 oranges daily, or 500 cups of broccoli, or 100 cups of blueberries, or 120 vitamin C tablets daily. That's the power we're talking about. So our flagship product, Protandim NRF2, activates your own body's antioxidant enzymes. And when it does that, it lowers oxidative stress. And you can see that when it turns on those enzymes, you can see 20 to 80 years old, how it keeps your oxidative stress at healthy levels. So we're turning on what's already in your body. We're not confusing it. We're not giving it mixed messages. We're opening the messaging systems up. We're opening up the pathways and we're really activating your cellular potential. This is the one product that completely changed my husband's life. So Protandim Nerve 2 is our flagship product, activating your body's own antioxidants. And then we came up with other activation products. So again, when you take them, we're activating pathways. Our collagen activates collagen peptides in your body. 5 different types of collagens that have, but 10 collagen peptides are activated. We know peptides are a very big buzzword right now. And this collagen tastes amazing. It's there to maintain and also activate your own collagen. We activate gut peptides, 14 key gut peptides. And this product in the middle, I could talk about for days how beneficial this is. I was just listening to a podcast that talked about with hormones, hormone dysfunction, cortisol levels. Our gut is the center stage for the rest of our health. It is so, so important. I have been around so many sick people with spring coming, and I believe this is the product that has kept me and my husband super healthy amongst all of that. We have an activated skincare line. It has the kind of ingredients in it that are also found in Protandim. Think about activating your skincare. Think about clean, healthy skincare systems. That's what we bring. Everything we do is just a really clean standard. And then we have Axio, which we're activating mental energy and clarity. And I'll show you some before and afters that go with this. But along with that activation, here's the beautiful thing that happens with our products. Protandim Nerf 2 being our first product, our flagship product. What happens is when we create other products, there's always a synergy that takes place. So when we layer our collagen with Protandim, we did a study and it activates even more key genes, key enzymes in your body to help with tissue repair. All these beautiful things that happen. That is our number one selling stack. It's called our Healthy Glow Stack. We put Protandim, the box on the left, with 2 other protandims. There's 3 protandims, and they all activate a different pathway, helping lower oxidative stress, boost NAD, boost mitochondria. You don't have to know what those are, but if you are a health junkie and you listen to health podcasts, you know what those are. And imagine taking all 3 at the same time. There's a synergy that happens. It makes them that much more potentially better together, that synergy. And then in the middle, we put that P84, that gut peptide product with Protandim. There's a synergy that happens. They all work together to enhance one another. So that's what's so beautiful about the products we bring in, the thought behind them, and then the patents and the studies that we do to show how much more therapeutic they are together. Okay, I'm going to show you, pictures are worth 1,000 words. So I want to show you just a couple before and afters. And then we have a couple people on that are going to share their personal stories. But I love these before and afters of our activated collagen, the external benefits that you get. And what we're showing you here, and what I know so many people on my team experience as well, was the elasticity of their skin changing. You know how sometimes you can like pinch your hand or your skin and see how long it stays up? That shows you the elasticity of it. Mine no longer stays up. Like the collagen, I will tell you, is like giving your body this internal lotion. It's so phenomenal what this product has done. Again, along with tissue repair. Now, some of these pictures here, you see the hair. We've got a hair system. I mean, they speak for themselves, really. And look at our wonderful friend here, 47 years old and 62 years old, just getting better and better. And then the product up in the middle, a spelling test. This is a young girl that was on taking our Axio. This is a before and after of her taking a spelling test. And this is 15 minutes apart taking Axio and how much it calmed her brain down to then go and take her spelling test. It works that quickly. Okay, so now we get to share a couple more stories with you from some of my dear friends and people that I met because of this business. Laura, if you could unmute and share with everybody your story and how activation has affected your life, I would be so grateful.
Well, thank you. Thank you for including me in this, and thank you for leading us, because it has just been an incredible journey. So I was introduced to Lifevantage and these products a little over 10 years ago on Thanksgiving. And I believe with my whole heart that God's hand was in the timing of all of it. We invited some friends for Thanksgiving dinner, actually people we didn't really know. And during the Thanksgiving dinner, Diana was talking about turmeric and green tea and milk thistle. And what she didn't know is that I had those in my medicine cabinet because I was really struggling. I had twins that were 3, and I hadn't really recovered from their birth. And so I would have to scoop them up in my elbows and sit on my bottom to go up and down the stairs because I just didn't have the strength in my joints, and it was incredibly painful. Felt like I was stepping on glass when I would get up in the morning, pulling out fistfuls of hair. Sounds like hormonal stuff, but all my blood results were fine. Everything was fine. And as much as I was grateful that everything was fine, everything was not fine. And I was trying a milk thistle detox, and I knew turmeric was good for inflammation. So I had all those things in my medicine cabinet. What I didn't know is the synergy of putting them together. So I'll admit I was skeptical. I'm a research geek. And so when I was introduced, I wanted to know more. I wanted to know about the ingredients and the synergy and all the things. And my mind was blown by the amount of research we had and by the doctor here in Colorado who helped put this all together. And so I was super excited to get started. So I bought it for myself for Christmas. Best gift I've ever given myself. And my birthday is the middle of January. So just like 2.5, 3 weeks later, I could tell I was starting to feel better. So again, not everyone has dramatic changes like that. And I wasn't instantly like cured of everything, but I could tell I was feeling better. And the reality was that was just the start because our company didn't stop there. And so as I introduced other products, I felt other benefits just continuing. So when the collagen came out, that's been 3 years ago. So I was on Protandim probably 7 years when we introduced collagen. Again, I was skeptical. I didn't believe in supplemental collagen. I was like, we're late to the game. But when I started on that collagen, it made a world of difference. At that point, I was perimenopausal. And so again, could be hormones, but that collagen, my husband's tagline is, with collagen, he feels like he's in college again. And so when we're going through that change of life, that's a nice change to have, is to feel those benefits. So yes, it was my hair, skin, and nails. But again, it was my joints, it was my digestion, it was my mood. It was so much more than even what our company thought it was. And again, my story doesn't stop there. So I have had a condition for almost my whole life. I remember in my 20s, I had this thing removed. It was like a lump in my leg, and I didn't know what it was. And it was a benign fat nodule. Great. Again, it's benign. But now that I'm in my 50s, I have over 30 of these. And I don't know why I have benign fat nodules all over. But when our company introduced the natural GLP-1 last October, so like a year and a half ago, I learned what condition I have. And the GLP-1 was just amazing in helping, one, teach me about my condition, because we had someone else join our company who had this condition. And so I learned the name and how it works and what it is. And the GLP-1 has helped me, again, lower inflammation, lose some weight, and just feel better. So I could go on and on and on. I've done research studies on brain health. I've seen incredible benefits for friends and family that I've introduced to this. I am excited by all the science, and I'm just so grateful because I feel better now at 56 than I definitely felt at 46 and than I felt in a long time. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, so exciting.
Thank you, Laura. Oh, so beautiful. Tina, please share. Can't wait.
Hi, you guys. So I'm not a science geek. I hear so many people say that, and I'm just like, oh, I love you guys. None of that makes sense to me. I was introduced to this company by a very dear friend just over 10 years ago. And the funny thing is when she brought it to my attention and I saw that primetime investigation, I realized that the night it aired on public television, I had seen it. It was the very first time I'd actually seen it. And I remember looking at my husband and I said to him, I don't know how, but we got to get our hands on this. Well, fast forward, it took 10 years. And I'd completely forgotten about it. My own personal story, myself and my husband, we had both been on SSRIs, and I had taken myself off of them. I didn't like the way it felt, and eventually he did as well. And a few years go by, and you know, you kind of need something to balance that out, and that's really a big part of my story. When I started taking this, I told my friend Gloria, a few months in, she says, "How are you doing?" And I said, I don't know. I don't know. I said, I don't know if I feel anything at all. And she just looked at me dumbfounded and she goes, "You're more calm." She's like, "Your brain isn't on fire. You're not like, BSC, if you guys understand what those initials mean." She's like, you're calm." She's like, "A person can actually talk to you." And at the same time, she's like, "I'm sorry." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you're right." It's, you're right. And then I stopped and really paid attention. And I could say the same thing about my husband. He was calm. He was literally, it was like just, he was a person that I never really knew up until that point, my whole marriage, because our brains were just on fire. And when you deal with it all the time and you live with it, it's like no big deal. And you start to realize my brain was on fire in a bad way. And so, I mean, that's my personal story, what NRF2 has done for me. But I'll tell you what kept me here is, and I have notes because it's been it's been quite a few years, and for me, dates matter. It was our grandson, and he was almost 2 years old. We were raising him, and we are again. That's been a back and forth game, but he was almost 2 years old, and he started having these horrible meltdowns and tantrums. And as time went on, they got progressively worse. And of course, we start thinking food and what do we change, and that gets to be really difficult. I started him under full chiropractic care, and the chiropractor said, he looks like he could have the symptoms, that we're not supposed to mention, symptoms and stuff. So I'm thinking you kind of get an idea what I'm talking about. But I started reading about the disconnection in the brain for our youth and what they go through and what people experience, and just really, I got to the point where I was at a loss. I didn't know how to help him, but I knew I needed to help him because his tantrums and meltdowns at the age of 2 um, were getting they were getting really bad, uh, to the point where we never knew if he was going to just all of a sudden snap and go into a tantrum. And one time he flung back so hard and I caught him. And if I hadn't, it was in the bathroom where this happened, he would have cracked his skull on the toilet. And I remember calling Gloria because I've worked with her for many years, um, crying. And I'm like, "I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, but I got to help this child." That's why I got to read because then, then I won't cry. He's 10 now, um, in case you're wondering. And she just said, "Put him on the products." And I'm like, "They've never been tested for kids." She goes, "Put him on the products." And I'm like, "Ah, all right, fine." So I did. I put our 2-year-old grandson on the products at half doses. And we started we started with just Axio for a short time, and then I was crushing a half a Protandim and sticking it in his Axio. And then as time went on, I started giving him our probiotic. I was crushing that back then we had these little round uh, tablets or whatever. They were hard like the Protandim, and I was crushing that and sticking it in his Axio. Everything was Axio. And I was also eventually putting an NRF1 in there. I would open that up and dump half of that in there. And I will never forget the day. And it was a few months in when his daycare lady looked at me because though he was little, he was 2, and with all these meltdowns and clearly brain issues that we were dealing with, he really wasn't talking. Um, you could just really see the disconnect even in his eyes when you looked at him. And so a few months in, because I'd started that, it's, well, let's see, when did I start? I started it in March. And so by July, I remember daycare took me aside one day and she goes, "What are you doing with him?" And I got a little defensive. And I'm like, "What do you mean? What am I doing with him?" And she's like, "He's a different kid." he's talking, he's engaging, he's communicating. And I was just like, wow. I mean, and that's why I cry, because he could have been stuck and locked in there. And when you read about the disconnected brain and how the kids' brains develop, and everything I learned in that time told me that it was getting unstuck. It was getting, things were connecting. The neurons were firing finally the way they were supposed to. And he's a much different child now than what he potentially could have been. I will tell everybody NRF2 for the rest of my life, and for his too. And yeah, I love this company. I am so grateful that I was introduced and given the opportunity. I believe this is just a gift from God. 100%. I believe that Lifevantage for our family is a gift from God. And we now have we have a total of 6 kids, 8 grandchildren, 1 on the way. And I would say the majority of the family is at least taking Protandim. Some of them are taking some of the other products. Stephen and I take more than just that right now. We've added things and just shifted things over the years, but this is it for us. We love it. We'll stick with it. It's just been a blessing for our family.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you so much. Okay, that's why we do this. Thank you, ladies, so much. To wrap this up, I want to share with you how we get to take these phenomenal stories and these amazing products and the industry in which we get to share them, which has been such a blessing, I know, for all of our lives. So there's something called the cash flow quadrant, and this is how cash flows through our economy. This was developed by Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And as you see in these 4 quadrants, you have the left side, which are employees and self-employed people. And as an employee, as a self-employed person, you basically have a job or you own a job. There's no leverage in it because the money that you make is dependent on the time that you put in. And the goal for many of us is to get to the right side. And on that right side is where you have the ability to be a business owner and an investor. Now, you can work on the left side while still trying to create on the right side. And that's the beauty of this industry and of this business. And so, on the right side, as a business owner, you have the ability to leverage a system. And with a system, you can teach people how to use that system. So the money that is made is not just dependent on you, it's also now a part of other people. It's that saying of, I'd much rather have, the work of 100 people doing a little than one person doing all of it. That's self-employed. You're still doing all of it. All of it depends on you. But in that B quadrant on that right side in general, only 5% of the population reside in this right side, and that's where 95% of the wealth comes from. Whereas on the left side, 95% of the population resides on that left side. And for some, they want that, and that's okay. We're just showing you tonight an industry and a way to actually leverage the work that you put in and the leverage that you can get from an industry like network marketing and growing a team and being a part of a community with special people like you saw with Laura and Tina because of amazing breakthrough products. So the company that encompasses all of this, it's called Lifevantage. You heard me mention that earlier. Lifevantage, again, has been around since 2009. We have a very clean balance sheet. We've been highly recognized in high publications when it comes to the technology of activation and how we work within the body. Our leadership has always been visionaries to get us where we are, but yet I want you to know we are still a baby apple. And that's why this is being shared with you tonight. We want you to have health because without health, life is hard, right? And we also want you to have options in your life, and we're looking for more voices to share what you've heard tonight. There are not enough people telling this story, and the world needs hope right now. And there are so many people in the world that do have that feeling where they're just unfinished. They know that there's more for them. And this is something that they don't know exists. And we want to open that door for them. So, why this moment matters, again, we just want more voices to give people hope. We have just launched in Iceland, and we just launched in Portugal. So we are just tapping the surface of that global response that we have, but we are in other countries as well, and we are publicly traded on the NASDAQ. When it comes to this business model, the things that are done for you, you invest once, and then you just have a yearly renewal fee that is $50. And what's done for you on that backside with that is you get your own website. They ship the products for you. All the business metrics are taken care of. There's no inventory you have to worry about, no invoicing. It's all done. You just become a bridge to people getting the information and helping them decide and get in where they fit in. You get paid for gathering customers. You can get paid for building a team if you choose to do so. You can get paid for developing leaders if you choose to do that. And you can get paid on what the company has already done. And I'll show you where that comes in. But you can work for an income and for someone else, or you can build leveraged income. And I want you to know, as I've grown my business, that leveraged income piece, meaning you can step outside, step off the wheel, and the wheel keeps going and the money keeps coming in. For instance, I still get paid today on a monthly basis for work that I did back in 2011 because people love the products. And what that does for you is when life hits and life is hard, rather than having to ask for time off or sick leave or worried about where my paycheck is going to come from, I know that it's going to continue to come in. And that has brought me peace of mind in some of the hardest times of our life. So this is our income disclosure statement. And that second column is our average monthly commissions that are paid by rank in the company. And your rank is just based on the amount of product volume that comes through your business on a monthly basis. And what made the biggest impact for me in the beginning was $300. An extra $300 to $500 is a big deal for people right now. That's going to get you groceries. That's going to pay for gas. It is a really big deal. And when I was making that, I knew that this worked. It was such a saving grace for our family because through a job layoff and having to move to another state, that bridged the gap for the pay decrease that my husband was taking. So there's different levels, of course, that you can make, and there's different volumes at which the income will make a big impact in your life. And this is the best example that I can think of to share how extra income can make such an impact. I keep seeing these reels on social media that talk about people in their 50s feeling like they're behind financially. And if you were to try to catch up financially and have a savings or have a retirement fund, it takes a lot of money to get there. So when you look at what our ranks are paid at, again, that extra $300 was huge for me. To make an extra $300 in retirement, you would have to put away $75,000, hoping it makes a 5% interest, and then you could have that $316 coming to you every month. Right? We can show you a way through our already in place system to do that in a very quick manner if you come in coachable and you're ready to make an impact in your life. And then we look at an extra $1,700. This is where you make a real impact in your life. In order to get that, you would have to invest over $417,000 to get that $1,700 per month. Think of that. Look at the money that you would have to invest, hoping you would get it back at some point, and what you can do within this industry. This industry can change a person's life so quickly, and you get to do it by growing and sharing amazing products, and you get to be a part of this amazing community. Like I said, I would never have known Laura and Tina had I not said yes. And by being a part of this, stretching myself, growing myself, what happens is the people I know open a door to other people that they know. And through that, you suddenly create this family and this culture and this community that you can't wait to be around. We get to go to Vegas this weekend and be together. And these are the kind of moments that we cherish and we love because we know we're around like-minded people. So to get started, you can get started wherever it fits for you. We have stacks, like I showed you, the products are sold individually, or we put them together. And that's where that synergy comes in place. This stack here, with the mind body and our protandim and our collagen, I love, love, love. There's so many options available to you that gets you started as a customer. Or if you wanted to come in and be a voice for what you've heard tonight, we have packs that you can choose from. Starts anywhere from $50 up to $999. You get what you pay for in that regard, and 90% of what you pay for is product that you get to start with to start your own story and then to share with other people. So I just want to say to you tonight too, this is never just about the products, which you can see. It's about people becoming who they were created to be. What starts as a product often becomes a purpose. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to begin. The opportunity isn't what you see today. It's who you can become because of it. Your next chapter doesn't need permission. It just needs a decision. So what if you're not finished and your next chapter is ready for you? Your 2026 can start now. I really, truly want to share with you, like, this was the best yes that I've ever made business-wise for me. And what it's done for my family has been the biggest blessing. And I know that anyone that's sharing this with you, or if you're a guest on tonight, they just want you to be a part of this movement with them because we know that we have a mission here. We know that we have a calling and an obligation to share this with the world. And again, the more voices we have, the better. So if you have any questions, please get back to the person that invited you and they can help make you that next best decision for yourself as well. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to stop the recording and